everyone, Medina here, and you're watching Arise Humanity. So, I have my big hair reveal today that I'm going to share with you the information on hair that we've been taught that is really revealing the scam that has been sold to us regarding hair, how to look after our hair, and hair products. Now, I will point out my hair's not looking brilliant at the minute, but it's in a process of just following the guidance of a protocol to create beautiful, thick hair that has been in place for many, many years, which people in the Victorian age were fully aware of, and they were renowned for their beautiful, thick, long hair. As you can see, I'm growing out the color in my hair, just allowing it to go back to its natural color. And the reason I've chosen to do that firstly is because I don't like all the toxic effects that happen when I put peroxide in my hair. So if you want to lighten your hair, you have to have peroxide in it. And peroxide, I can feel when it goes on my head, it heats my skin up and has a toxic effect that I can feel when it's put on my body. So I don't want to do that anymore. And what I'm finding is that all the information that I have been taught in, our current Western society about hair is pretty inaccurate. So for me, I'm trialing this new protocol that the Victorian women used to do, and it is working amazingly well. So the way to do it is, if you want to have thick hair and you want to grow your hair long, then I think for me, because as you're getting older, your hair does thin, and I've noticed it thinning, is I wanted a way to thicken it up. And of course, we're told about all these products that thicken your hair, or eat collagen, or do this or do that, with, a whole range of products that they can sell you now. But I've started this way, which is really simple, which is basically just to have a really good quality boar bristle brush. So boar is a tough, pig, B-O-A-R, boar bristle brush. And if you get one, for example, like a Mason Pearson hairbrush, that's a really good one. And what they recommend is to brush your hair at least 100 strokes every day. Now, I've been brushing mine 100 strokes in the morning and 100 strokes at night. And I'm really noticing it's starting, and you can't really see it here. You can't tell at all, but it's really starting to thicken, actually. And what it's doing is it's bringing all the natural oils from your head down and thickening your hair. And you do not shampoo at all. You just leave your hair to thicken with its natural oils. And you would think that, you couldn't go out in public if you did that, because your hair would look really oily or something like this. But, it's not actually that bad. And apparently it takes about 6 weeks for it to start to really thicken and to sort of start looking really good. So I'm about 3 weeks through that process, and it looks a little bit like it's unwashed, and it's not as thick in this image here in the video as it is feeling, but it's definitely thickening up with this process, which I'm really thrilled about. And the other thing is that you can use conditioner on the ends if you need to, that's an option as well. Or you can just sort of use the brushing with the natural oil coming through your hair and just leave it at that. For me, because my hair has been bleached, the ends are really dry, so very occasionally I'll put a little bit of conditioner in just because of that. But I'm really thrilled that I've been able to embrace this new stage, which is just to go to my natural color, which, you know, it's not like super exciting or anything, but it's not grey. Mind you, a lot of grey hair looks fantastic. I love some of the grey hair that I see out there. It looks incredible. Especially I love that, you know, really silvery grey. That's really beautiful. But I just felt like I didn't want to be part of the matrix system where we're using all these toxic hair products, which again are based on, you know, corporations that are using things in unethical ways. They're doing animal testing and all sorts of stuff, and I just didn't want to be part of that anymore. I'm trying to be as natural now as possible, and I'm really actually excited. Again, you can't really see it in the video, but I'm really excited about how my hair is going with this process. It is really thickening up, which you can't tell here at all, but it is, I can tell. And you can do things like put a little bit of maybe coconut oil in the top of your hair, bit of castor oil in the top of the hair. Again, it will make it a little bit sort of oily, but that can facilitate, you know, the natural oils as well. I have a really interesting audio that I would love to share with you about women in the Victorian era and how they looked after their hair. They were renowned for it. So please enjoy this information that I'm just going to share with you after this video, and maybe reconsider, you know, how you are utilizing the hair industry at the moment, because to me, it's all a bit of a scam. You know, the products are so expensive. They're full of stuff that's not good for us, and that's going into our scalp and into our skin and into our body. And I know that I have a ton of product that's just going to be now not used, because I think that this is really unfolding really well. I was concerned that, you know, the initial 6 weeks process, I'd be not able to leave my home because my hair would look so bad. But it's actually not that bad. It's not going too bad, because it does take about 6 weeks for it to really start looking good. I did know a woman in Russell Island who had the most incredible hair. It was stunning. It was so long and so thick, and it just looked incredible. And she had been doing this process for years as well. So, you know, we haven't been taught this. I know my mother used to brush her hair many times every night, and she said that her mother told her about it, and she was taught to do that, you know, that sort of English sort of background that she's come from. And she has had really thick hair till an older age. She's 97 now, but she's had really thick hair a lot of her life, and I think that the brushing has been a lot of that. But she goes to the hairdresser and gets it all set and all that sort of stuff. And I'm advocating for people to just try the natural way now and just allow our hair to do what it naturally does, and not use any of these products, because we actually don't need to. And I think also to embrace the fact that, you know, we don't have to be putting these toxic chemicals into our hair if we don't want to. So I hope that's inspired someone out there with their hair, and we'll see how it all unfolds. But I'm excited about it, so I just wanted to share that with you. I know I wear hats a lot, but you know, that's something that I just love to do, is wear hats. But, you know, perhaps now with my new hair that's unfolding, I'll be wearing a bit less hats. Who knows? I'm a bit addicted to hats, but anyway, that's another story. So if this resonates with you, or you have someone that you'd like to share this with that perhaps has concerns about their hair at the moment, and again, the cost of going to the hairdresser, the cost of all this product, it makes a huge difference if you're not participating in that whole industry in that way as well. We don't want to feed the matrix anymore. We don't want to feed that 3D private industry corporate sort of mentality. We want to be a bit more natural and a bit more organic, I think, is the way to go these days. So many people are feeling that anyway. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and it inspired you with your hair.
Hair. Victorian women went months without washing their hair. Their secret. It looked better than ours does today. Look at any photograph from the 1800s. Notice those women with impossibly thick, glossy hair piled in elaborate styles. Hair that cascades in perfect waves, shines in sepia tones, looks healthier than most of us manage with our arsenals of modern products. They weren't washing it, sometimes for months at a time. And no, it wasn't because they were dirty or didn't care. It was because they understood something we've forgotten. Sometimes less is more. Here's what they knew that we don't. The soaps available in the Victorian era were brutal. Made with lye, a caustic alkali strong enough to strip paint. These soaps were designed to clean woolen clothes and scrub floors. They worked by breaking down oils and grease aggressively. For men with short hair, this was manageable. A quick wash, some damage, cut it off eventually, grow more. But for women whose hair often reached their waist, sometimes their knees. Women who were expected to maintain that hair for their entire lives. Washing with lye soap was like taking sandpaper to silk. Each wash stripped away natural protective oils. Left hair dry, brittle, prone to breakage. Do that weekly and you'd have straw for hair by age 30. So Victorian women developed a completely different system. One that seems strange to us now but was actually brilliant. Every night, and this was non-negotiable in proper households, women sat before their mirrors and brushed their hair, not casually, methodically. 100 strokes, the famous 100 strokes before bed, wasn't just an old wives' tale or a romantic notion. It was a precise beauty regimen based on observation and results. They used boar bristle brushes, and this detail matters. Boar bristles have a texture similar to human hair. They're slightly rough, which allows them to grab and remove dust, dead skin cells, and debris that accumulates during the day. But more importantly, boar bristles distribute oil. Your scalp produces sebum, natural oil designed to protect and condition your hair. The problem is, this oil stays mostly at the roots unless you help it along. That's what the brushing did. Starting at the scalp, stroke by stroke, Victorian women would pull those natural oils down the entire length of their hair from roots to ends. 100 times. The result? Hair that was naturally conditioned, protected, cleaned of environmental buildup, and glossy, all without a drop of water or a gram of soap. They were using their own biology as a beauty product. And it worked spectacularly. Those elaborate Victorian hairstyles you see in portraits, the towering updos, the perfect coils, the dramatic volume, weren't wigs that was their actual hair. Speaking of that volume, they had tricks. Rats were small pads made from a woman's own saved hair combings. Yes, they saved the hair from their brushes, or from wool, horsehair, or cotton. These were tucked into updos to create height and fullness. It sounds odd now, but it was genius. Why use heat or harsh treatments to create volume when you could just add more hair? The elaborate styles themselves served a dual purpose. They looked beautiful, yes, but they also protected hair from environmental damage. Dust, smoke from oil lamps and coal fires, weather. All of this was kept away from the hair shaft when it was pinned up properly. A woman might wash her hair once a month. Some went longer, 2 months, 3 months, between full washes. And when they did wash, it was an event. They'd heat water, no small task in an era before running hot water. Sometimes add eggs, beer, or herbs to create gentler cleansing mixtures. They'd rinse with rainwater, softer than well water, or vinegar solutions to restore shine. Then they'd spend hours drying their hair, again, waist-length hair doesn't dry quickly, by the fire in the sun, being very careful because wet hair is vulnerable hair. It was such an ordeal that of course they didn't do it often. But here's what's remarkable. This system wasn't considered second best. It wasn't making do. It was the proper, correct, scientifically sound way to care for hair, according to the beauty and health authorities. Of the time, hair manuals from the Victorian era spend pages discussing brushing technique, the angle of the bristles, the rhythm of the strokes, how to section hair for thorough coverage, how to clean your brush, crucial, a dirty brush defeats the purpose. This was serious business, because hair was serious business. In an era when women's hair was never cut, except in illness or mourning, when it was considered their crowning glory, when elaborate hairstyles indicated status and respectability, hair health wasn't vanity, it was social survival. A woman with thin, broken, dull hair faced social stigma. But a woman with thick, glossy, abundant hair? She was demonstrating health, good breeding, proper habits, and feminine virtue all at once. So they didn't wash it, they brushed it. 100 strokes every single night for their entire lives. And you know what? Looking at those old photographs, at portraits painted before the era of harsh shampoos and daily washing, at descriptions in diaries and letters of women's abundant tresses and glossy locks, maybe they were onto something. Modern dermatologists now increasingly recommend reducing wash frequency, the no-poo movement advocates for washing less. We're told that overwashing strips natural oils and creates a vicious cycle where hair gets oily faster. Victorian women figured this out 150 years ago. They couldn't change the harsh soaps available to them. They couldn't invent modern chemistry, but they could observe, experiment, and perfect a system that worked with their hair's natural biology rather than against it. 100 strokes boar bristle brush, natural oils, patience, not neglect, not dirt, not ignorance, just a different kind of wisdom, one that trusted nature, ritual, and care over chemistry and convenience. Their hair was their crown, and they wore it beautifully.